that's right, baby. It's 1776 all over again. Take some freedom, England. The USA moving on to the final. Buffon. Speaking of old like England, Buffon headed back to old stomping grounds at Juve. Can't this guy take the hint? Transfer season, baby. Not only in Europe, also in the Americas. Here's a picture of LeBron and Anthony Davis colluding. It's coming up on Post to Post. Yeah!
USA.
Suck it, world. USA is number one again. That's right. They move on to the final. Also, before we get started, though.
Number one again.
That's right, baby. Number one
again.
again. All right. Eric is itching to answer your transfer questions. So if you guys want to send any transfer out there, literally anything, the transfer from your savings to your bank account because your light bill's due, any kind of transfer at all, Eric will be happy to answer it. Not the last thing I just said. That was obviously a joke. But Eric will be able to talk about it. So get your transfer talk in now. We'll get to it later because we're going to start with the USA. Oh, there's Eric, by the way. You guys saw this last week on our chat about when we let Siri pick the entire Copa America. By the way, 4 for 4. Siri undefeated, okay, in the quarterfinals of the Copa America.
Welcome to the show that reminds us all that sugar is bad for you.
Exactly. This one, and by the way, technology, all right? We all saw Skynet. This is how it starts.
Yes.
Siri picks Copa America. Then she murders us
The
all.
movie's called Terminator.
But
2,
we're going
by
to
the
see
way.
exactly.
We all saw Skynet.
Well, actually, a lot of you guys probably need to be told that because you're probably too young to remember one of the greatest action movies of all time. You know, James Cameron, one of his finest, right? It has to be James Cameron's finest outside of Avatar.
I don't know.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Alex Morgan sipping the tea, minding her own business. The USA move on, not without controversy, though. I got all my handy-dandy notes right here. I write like a 5th grader, if you guys didn't know that. But in the 10th minute, Kristen Press opens the scoring. Great header. Ellen White in the 19th minute ties it all up. It was a little bit of a back and forth game there. Alex Morgan, happy birthday, by the way, this lovely lass here. She gets the eventual game winner, but then in the second half, a little more interesting. The 68th minute, Jill Scott has a goal disallowed, right? Just a little, by the narrowest of margins.
VAR became the protagonist.
Exactly. All of a sudden, VAR takes spotlight. But then we got VAR out of here again. Haha, just kidding. Penalty in the 82nd minute when Becky, how do you say this name? Sauerbrunn? Sauerbrunn trips Ellen White. They review it. It is in fact a penalty. I don't care what anybody says. It was a trip from behind.
It's a penalty.
I know it was inadvertent. Doesn't matter. It's a penalty. But Alyssa Naher saves the day for the red, white, and blue, baby!
I know.
That's right. And because of that, we're moving on. Also, Millie Bright gets a second yellow in the 86th minute. Hard challenge on Alex Morgan. She sees red. Not
For
that
a
it
challenge,
matters.
it should have seen a direct
It should have been a red, but she had a 40th minute yellow card earlier, so she gets her second yellow. She gets sent off, and that was pretty much all she wrote for the Lionesses. And Eric, what do you think about the game? I might as well just put it out there.
I think this game was kind of representative of what we've seen in the Women's World Cup
Correct.
All summer long, or for the past few weeks. And that is a very good tournament, especially in the latter stages where you have a little bit more parity. USA-France was great. This game may have been even better. And all that VAR, some people say controversy. I don't think it's controversial at all because there were two good decisions. VAR reared its head once again. People are upset about it, but all those things, the goals and VAR, made for great ingredients for what was ultimately a fabulous spectacle.
Yeah, I feel like we always end up talking about VAR when Eric's on, but I mean, those were two correct calls.
They are.
They one went against England, one went for England, because
Yes.
some people would say that wouldn't be a penalty, but in fact it was a penalty, even though it was inadvertent. I think the yellow card is a little much.
Yes, because, yes. I mean, Dogso, denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, I think, comes into play to some degree, but that could have been a direct red card. There were actually people who argued that there was no intention of getting the ball, the foot is sort of stuck in. I think it was inadvertent, and it should have been a red. I think the yellow is harsh. I think it's a penalty. It does bring up two questions, right? The first one is whether the penalty itself falls into the category of clear and obvious. I would argue that it did. Some people say that because it took so long to review that it doesn't, but that brings up for me another problem, which is the length of time it takes to review a play, which I think needs to change. In terms of the offside, clearly an obvious offside.
Yeah. It was like half a foot off. More
right, but what it does, it highlights an issue with the rule itself. Some people believe that calling an offside because of a few millimeters is wrong. It does damage to the game. I'm actually inclined. I've changed. I've processed this and I've evolved in my opinion.
You adapted.
I've adapted.
You evolved. Evolve's the right term.
I think there's a good argument to be made that in order for offside to be called, there should be entire body separation from a forward to a defender. That's about the rule, and the rule would need changing. I don't think that's going to happen. And if that one day potentially could happen, until that day, we're stuck with this situation where the marginal offside calls are going to be made.
But, maybe that would benefit the game in total, because if you do take away these marginal offside calls, you end up getting, even if it's full body parts, you think it'll lead to more goals. Maybe the game is a little more exciting.
That's right.
I know there's a lot of people that say the game's already perfect, you don't want to change it.
Well, and that's why some of the changes to the offside rule have already been made, including the active and passive players, right? So, yes, I think it's something that perhaps should be looked at. Look, if nothing else, VAR has basically highlighted the fact that the rules themselves aren't perfect. We've seen that with the handball rule, the new one that is, as well as the old one, because it made referees have to interpret or read into the intention of the player committing the handball, and I think that's almost impossible.
Yeah, because that means you're judging character. You're basically trying to be a mind reader, and you can't do it. Now, going back to the yellow card, I don't think it matters whether she was trying to play the ball or not, because it was like, oh, she wasn't trying to play the ball. She may have been in the process of doing it. There's so many ifs and whats. Either way, it's a penalty, and we're gonna look at some comments here. Albert Blanco says, if Neymar doesn't save the ball, England would have had a chance of winning the game. Yeah. Very true, but they did have their chance. She saved it. Sorry. See you next week.
Especially the way that the U.S. were retreating in that second half.
Exactly. I didn't like that at all. And then Kelty Tippos, imagine the U.S. men's national team Gold Cup and U.S. women's national team in the World Cup. That could very much happen on Sunday, which would be a great American Sunday after America's birthday, which is in 2 days. Today I watched the first complete women's football match, and it was a beauty. Oh my God, so tense, so exciting. Better than most of the Copa America this year.
I don't disagree.
You could probably argue better than some of the Copa America games too.
No, I think better than the entire tournament. The Copa America, especially in the quarterfinals, have been duds. Yeah, right? So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the quarterfinals very disappointing.
By the way, Eliana there is saying that Nair was amazing. Interestingly enough, she was the most maligned of the U.S. players going into this tournament.
Yeah, I wonder why.
She was shaky. She was shaky at times, and she came up big. But the penalty strike from Steph Houghton was weak.
Yeah, it was a weak penalty strike. But Nair also had a big save in the first half. The ball that came curling in almost floated and ran over her. She got her fingertips to it, and that also, you take away those two things, and the USA is headed back on the plane home. But they're not headed back on the plane home. Some people would say that they've now played two finals. They played the French game, which they won 2-1. They beat England now 2-1. Do you give Sweden or the Netherlands any chance versus the USA?
Well, I didn't see anything from Sweden in the game that they played in the group stage against the U.S. That would give me cause to worry. I think the two main rivals have been beaten. The Netherlands are a physical team. They have a great player like Lieke Martens. However, I don't think they have the arguments to beat the U.S., and I think it's just cruising.
I think it'd be massive tragedy, or the best game Sweden or the Dutch have ever played in their lives. To beat
but listen, Sweden did beat Germany, so
that's true too. That's true too. So you never know. But I'm getting the hands to move on. So we're gonna get into some daily news. Give me the flip, baby. Let's do it. There it is. Some of you kids may know that's a very old sound that was used to signal news broadcast in the 40s and 50s before movies. Anyway, so Juventus leads the headlines today. They bring back some old blood. Buffon coming back on a 1-year deal on a free contract, which is, free transfer, what Juve seems to always do.
Yeah, which is great. By the way, free transfer doesn't mean free transfer.
No,
there's still
free.
agents' fees involved, and usually agents make a lot of money.
It's free as in they don't have to pay Juve. They don't have to pay PSG.
A club. Yeah. But Juve, as you just noted, this is a team that does so much free transfer business. This season, Ramsey comes over from Arsenal. Now Buffon, Rabiot as well. And historically, Paul Pogba, Andrea Pirlo, Emre Can, all free transfers.
I think they get the most out of their players, which is really impressive. And now Sarri probably going to do the same with Rabiot, who's also coming over in a free transfer. This guy, he basically dominated the first incarnation of Sports Burst. Regular Sports Burst before we crossed into the summer platform. He was the guy everyone was talking about, him and his terrible haircut here, as you could tell. See, I like guys with hair, right? But these curls are a little too much. I don't know how I feel about that, even though I do like that jersey. But Rabiot, he's also on his way. I guess Juve just picking up all of PSG's garbage on the way out.
Whoa!
Yeah, and
Whoa!
When you throw something away, is it not garbage?
Okay,
fine. Okay, PSG.
When you put it like
garbage.
that, it makes sense. But can we talk about how good of a player he is?
I didn't say he was garbage.
Because
I said PSG's garbage.
Because PSG, to be fair to them, wanted to keep him. He played hardball with his mom, Veronica Rabiot.
That's true.
I think I got the name right. He's a quality player, and you might forget that considering that he hasn't laced up his cleats for the better part of 6 months.
You think he's going to have some kind of conditioning problems? Or anything? I mean, we have...
No,
he's been training, right?
You're still training on the side. He still has preseason. He'll be fine.
Yeah, instead of training with the team, your job now becomes training by yourself.
Right.
And, for sure he has all the resources required, to do anything like that. And Boateng, Prince Boateng, he will leave Barcelona after only 6 months.
No.
What a shocker, right?
Whoa.
Who saw this one coming? That's crazy.
Although I do feel bad for him because he has been labeled as a poor player, as a bad player. He's not. He's got a lot of quality. He's not a striker. And that's what he was brought in to Barcelona for, to play that position, to be the potential substitute or replacement for Suarez. Not in the long term, but in the season, if anything happened to Suarez. Look, it was never going to work, and apparently there had been some rumors that he didn't get along with some players who shall not be named, but who have a tremendous amount
He got blackballed by Messi. He didn't like him. That was it. Look, I'll say it.
What?
Messi. Yeah, exactly.
So not surprising.
So because of that, we will not have Griezmann coming. He should be announced the next week. I heard it's supposed to be yesterday. It's supposed to be a week ago. He made a video. Maybe we'll get another video. Maybe there'll be more videos.
It looks like it's going to happen. That's the thing.
I
am still in shock that with the potential arrival of not only Griezmann but Neymar as well.
Yeah, that would be a full sweep. I mean, if you want to wipe Real Madrid from the headlines in Spain, that's the way to do it.
Well, they've already done it just by being associated.
Just by in the conversation,
right?
Yeah.
But Real Madrid quietly doing their business and doing their business well.
Yeah. And speaking of transfers, it's also been big transfer market season stateside. As you know, the NBA free agency period is rip-roaring.
What's that? What's NBA?
NBA is the second global game, my friend.
Oh.
And it is the one that has a lot of headlines talking. It's the league Antoine Griezmann wants to be in. Mm-hmm. And it's
that is actually very true.
Exactly. Money flying all over the place. And we actually have a graphic here that we're going to show you guys about how much money has been spent. Now remember, you got to take this with kind of a grain of salt. This is it right here. And as you'll see, there's been $1.1 billion spent in transfer fees in La Liga. 600, we'll call it 92, in the Premier League. And in 24 hours, since the beginning of free agency, $3.175 billion handed out in salaries to NBA players, which, Eric, this is making me think that me and you, one, we lost the genetic lottery, and two, we definitely put our eggs in the wrong basket because, see, I got something about this number, though. $3.175 billion. Yes, it looks huge, but that is money that's going to be paid out over the contracts that have already been signed. So Damian Lillard, sure, he's getting a 5-year contract, $191 million. That number is in here.
Right.
Kevin Durant's 164, that's in here. These are just transfer fees. This is without player salaries. So with player salaries, this probably balloons quite a bit.
Do you know what's crazy about this is that there's a salary cap
in the NBA.
Yeah.
And this is the number.
And still you're seeing these astronomical numbers. Look, I look at all this money being spent on players, no matter what the sport is, and I feel sad. I feel sad because this is the state that we're in the world, where these guys are getting paid so much money when there are some people in the world without a lot of money. But that's my little aside.
That's the moral thing.
People very often forget about the wage issue when it comes to soccer transfers. And here's a point that I think is important to note. Very often, we're talking about Juve and their free transfers. Very often, it is not the exorbitant transfer fees that make it very hard for clubs to shed players when they don't want them. Think of Alexis Sanchez, for example, at Manchester United. It's actually their wages. Wages are what is so hard to get rid of.
Well,
because a player
That's
very
why
often,
Bale is still at Real Madrid.
Right, absolutely. Because a player is making a tremendous amount of money, and he's not going to want to leave.
Correct.
Unless
Why
somebody
would he?
offers the close to the same
thing,
amount. Another player is Mesut Ozil. Arsenal don't want Mesut Ozil. We know that Emery doesn't want this guy, but he's not going to leave because he makes a ton of money. Anyway, to the comments.
No, and it's just it's the thing that really blows my mind is the business of sport. And even though you said all these guys make so much money, honestly, if these guys don't get the money, that just means that the billionaire owners are keeping that money. So when it comes to these guys, get it all while you can.
Yeah, I know.
Because I probably trust these guys to do more with it than the other guys.
Should I go on my rant about the smaller clubs?
We're not doing that. No. Gene says
Producer Maria says no.
Gene says, until I see him officially announce, I will continue to doubt Griezmann to Barca.
You and me both.
Yeah, that's the way. That's another unfortunate thing now that's actually seeping into the NBA is you have so many rumors flying. So many guys want to be first on Twitter.
Yes.
So many people want to be the guy. They want to break the story. That the first thing they get, they run with it, and you get a lot of unreliable news.
The NBA is learning from soccer that these transfer associations linking players with clubs sells newspapers or gets a lot of clicks.
Yeah, well, I think what really happens is agents release this kind of stuff to Twitter, to people, because they want to drum up interest in their clients.
It's agents, friends of the player, friend of the friend of the aunt of the player.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how it goes.
But that's kind of unfortunate, too, because then you get a lot of these journalists who could be legitimate. They ended up getting called out because they get the wrong information.
Well, it's their fault for publishing something that is based on the words of somebody who is not directly associated with the deal.
Yeah, but the thing is
basic journalism from Maria Brito.
If you are not first, you're last, right? So you got to have the scoop. You got to be in there.
But isn't that the wrong mentality, Michael?
It is. Hey, man, I didn't make the game.
It's okay to be second or third. You don't have to be first all the time.
And guys, I will have you know, okay, Tuesday, I'm sitting here in the office, right? I got information from a source. I said Jimmy Butler was going to get traded to Miami Heat. What happens 2 days later? He gets traded to Miami Heat. You're welcome. I'm basically a genius now. Okay, well, we're going to get into some bold predictions. How about that? Gino, give me the flip. Boo, 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 boo. I need a noise for this one. We need music. We need a track. All right, Eric. Brazil, Argentina. The South American Clash of Titans. Okay?
Are they Titans right now? I mean,
in South America, who's bigger? Who's bigger in South America?
Nobody. Peru.
Okay.
Peru and Chile.
Anyway, so like I said, if you go back to last Thursday,
really?
where me and Ricardo Mazza asked Siri to predict the entire tournament based on Siri coin flips, she is now 4 for 4, 100%, swinging like the best hitter in baseball, batting 1,000. She had Brazil going to the final. Do they do it?
I do think Brazil is going to go to the final.
Despite the game
after a really long and drawn-out 0-0 that will go to penalties.
Argentina against Argentina?
And I'm going to make a bold prediction here.
Do it.
Because bold predictions, right? Messi misses the penalty like he did in 2016 at MetLife Stadium against Chile. You heard it here first, folks. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think Brazil, and I said this morning, I think Brazil is going to trounce Argentina. Their midfield is too strong, and the only thing that can really hurt Brazil in this game is, wait for it, drum roll, Brazil. Brazil can hurt Brazil because Brazil has a tendency, if things don't go right in the first 5 minutes, they start like getting frustrated and arguing with each other. Their movements aren't too good, but I think things are going to go swimmingly for them.
I also think Brazil wins 2-0 in a convincing yet low-scoring win.
Okay.
And then everybody blames Messi tomorrow, and they're wrong, of course.
Of course.
And that's that. And that's going to do it for Post to Post. Don't forget, we got Sports Burst at noon with the lovely Gabby Amato. Yeah, man.
That was quick.
With the lovely Gabby Amato. We got AFCON also going on hot. If you get tired of watching Women's World Cup and Copa America. And Gold Cup, don't forget, Vamos Haiti. Haiti plays Mexico tonight. So that's going to be it.
Oh, let me just say one thing before we go. Just before we go, Maria, don't cut me off just yet.
Willie's ready to fly.
Just in Buffon's contract, he has to play 8 games in the league in Serie A so he can beat Maldini's record. Talk about an interesting clause.
He'll get him.
He'll get him.
Okay,
See you later,
guys. Go, Willie.
Bye, big soccer head.